Per Se is a loved New York City restaurant created by famed chef Thomas Keller, who also created the French Laundry in Yountville. The restaurant has 3 Michelin stars and is often discussed as one of the best restaurants in the city, if not the country as a whole. We sat down for our 3-hour dining experience and loved the unique flavors and impeccable service. Here's all the information on Per Se in New York City. To get to Per Se, we boarded the subway in Brooklyn and took it all the way to the outskirts of Central Park. Per Se is located on the 4th floor of the high-end shopping mall called the Shops at Columbus Circle.
While I was in New York, I wanted to surprise both my mom and my dad with a fine dining experience. I took my mom to 11 Madison Park, which you can see here, and today's Pop's turn.
I'm so excited. This is going to be incredible.
We're going to Per Se.
Much like its sister restaurant, the French Laundry on the other side of the United States, Per Se is also a difficult reservation to get. You need to be online and waiting when they release the reservations, and we were actually sitting on Mackinac Island when we made these. We got an early reservation and we were seated at an elevated table that looked out over Central Park as the sun was starting to set. We were then presented with the menu and given a couple different add-ons that we could choose to do if we wanted. I didn't do any upgrades, but my dad opted for one, and then we started with a glass of rosé. The meal started with the first bites, which was a salmon tartare cornet and then their take on a Ritz cracker. These small bites were flavorful and a great way to start the meal. After that, the first course came out, Oysters and Pearls, which is a signature dish from Chef Thomas Keller. I had had this before at the French Laundry, and it's a dish I still dream of, so I was incredibly excited to have it a second time.
Alright, here's the famous dish, Oysters and Pearls. Pops is having it for the first time.
I'm very excited to try this. Boy, that's amazing. Creamy, flavorful. The caviar is very light. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Wow.
This is my second time having this, and it is just as incredible as the first time. Such an amazing dish. I am so sad that that is over.
It's one of these things, how do you begin to describe this? It's just perfect.
It's pretty awesome to start the meal with Oysters and Pearls, and then from there I went to the salad with Meadow Farm summer squash, and my dad went with the Hudson Valley foie gras. It was also served with a selection of bread and butter. If you haven't seen my fine dining videos before, then note that I'm not really reviewing any of the dishes, I'm just talking about the experience as a whole so you can decide if it's something that you want to do. Also, I was a little bit worried about this one as I'd already been to French Laundry and thought maybe it'd have a lot of duplicates, but I have to say it was its own thing and it was well worth going to even if you'd been to French Laundry before. Our next dish was a Mediterranean lubina, which is like a flaky white fish, and it was served with turnips, mushrooms, and a tomato consommé. After that, we switched from a rosé to a Pinot Noir, and then we moved on to our next dish, which was a buttered poached Maine lobster with an oyster cracker, charred peppers, and corn chowder. We both agreed that we had no idea how something like this would work, but that all the flavors were incredible together, and it was one of our favorites of the night.
What an unusual combination to think of lobster and corn chowder. Never would have put that together. Very unusual sweetness from the corn. The crunchy crispiness is good. The lobster is fabulous, of course. But that corn is really an interesting component.
Following that, we had squab, which was wrapped in a puff pastry served with sweet carrots. I would almost compare the preparation of this to a beef Wellington with the rich meat surrounded by the puff pastry and then the sauce that you can dip it into. I've had squab multiple times at Michelin restaurants, and this was one of my favorite preparations. While this seems fast in video, this is about 2 hours in real time, and we moved on to our last savory dish. This was a prime rib of lamb served with cauliflower, wax bean vinaigrettes, and a burnt lemon.
Incredible flavor, awesome crust, literally just falls apart in your mouth. It's so tender. And this sauce is fabulous along with it, almost like a wine kind of a sauce. Just delicious.
Yeah, there are no misses here. Every course is pretty incredible.
As we finished our last savory dish, we were brought out an aged cheese served with black winter truffles before moving on to dessert. If you've ever seen a video of Per Se or the French Laundry, then you'll know about the dessert course. The dessert course is always impressive with multiple different things that you can try, all having very unique flavor combinations.
Pops is complaining that there's not enough desserts
There's
being
only
put in
4
front of
plates
him.
so far.
If you'd like 5, I can do 5.
All right, well done. That's what
How
I get
about
for
6?
get for complaining.
How about 6?
Tonight we started with an ice cream sandwich, and then we had a pyramid of chocolate and hazelnut, and then we had a strawberries and cream with the key lime ganache, and lastly we had the famous coffee and donuts. They also brought some macaroons to share, and they brought out a little cake for my dad's birthday.
All right, Pops, try the coffee and donuts though. That's the iconic
All right,
one.
coffee and donuts. Wow, yummy coffee. Wow, really good donut. Yeah, that's one.
Of course, they never want you to go home hungry, so they ended the meal by letting us pick our own chocolate truffles from their very unique collection of flavors.
Banana miso chocolate and a cherry cola chocolate. Both very unique, I think. Cheers.
After the sun had gone down and we finished our meal, we asked if we could see the kitchen, and luckily we were able to do so. This is one of my favorite parts of the fine dining experience if we're actually able to see the kitchen, and it was awesome to see this one as we had seen the one at French Laundry, and they had a live video display of the French Laundry one up on the wall. Just being able to see the amazing chefs at work creating these fantastic dishes is the perfect way to end the night.
All right, Pops, how was your first 3-star experience?
That was incredible. I don't know what I expected, but it's kind of like so many of the different dishes, you taste them and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Or you take a dish and you taste it and then you just like really pay attention, and all of the subtleties that I'm sure the chef has thought about for hours that are built in kind of reveal themselves to you as you're going through it. So incredible experience, incredibly delicious food, some of the best I've ever had. So yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to have been here.
I agree. That was an amazing meal. I didn't know because French Laundry was my first place. I'm like, I don't know if I'm remembering it even better than it was, but it is absolutely as good as I remember. The East Coast version of French Laundry is definitely worth seeking out when you're in New York. A little bit hard to get reservations, a little bit pricey, but a meal you will truly remember forever. Hopefully you enjoy these fine dining experiences. You can see all of them in the description, and we'll see you on the next one.
They also sent us home with a small tin that had 3 cookies inside of it for us to enjoy the next day. Alright, that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.